Okay, happy morning. A beautiful 28-degree morning. We have this exhaust fan that, listen. That sounded really bad when it was running. So, this is one of two exhaust fans at a very busy restaurant, waiting for this to fail. Not an intelligent move. So, operator's awesome. They let me come in, run an analysis of what's going on, what the risks are, and then we replace things that make sense. So, we're gonna swap this out this morning. We're here early because we gotta get this changed before they fire up the kitchen. It's 3-phase, right? It's an expensive motor. 3-phase 208. So, here we go. Okay, nobody's downstairs, so I have it off here. Okay. We pulled the nuts and bolts, we pulled the whip, unwired it, pulled this out. So this will transfer to the new motor. We got to go get the motor. I got to bring up the bearing puller. We'll pull this guy off so we can transfer it. Okay, I don't really normally run recon and stuff before I start filming. So I was thinking as I brought this up, okay, so this is the exact replacement, right? Everything's straight. Fitting will go in the same way. So I was thinking to myself, like, well, generally, because this can be 208 or it can be 460, and generally they're wired for 208 from the factory. In this case, they're not wired at all. So you can see 8, 5. So we're gonna go 208, 230. So we got to get 4, 5, and 6 and wire nut those together. Then we're gonna get 1 and 7. 2 and 8, 3 and 9, and those are going to be our 3 lines. And then if we have rotation problems, we can switch either there, or I'd probably just switch it in here to fix the rotation. Okay, so from a wiring perspective, I've got 4, 5, 6 tucked away. Okay. Also, I've not done yet. A little trick I've learned is to stick your electrical tape in your pocket, because cold electrical tape just doesn't work. So I'm warming up my electrical tape so that when I'm done, I can tape off all my connections. And then I've started, right, my 172839, so I don't have to deal with it once it's in there. And if you have the question of, well, there's a 9 and there's a 6, how do you be sure? Kudos, look, they write physical 9. There's the number and it also says 9, so you don't have to worry about that. I'm appreciative for this manufacturer and the size of the cavity in there. I did actually cut down some of my other connections, so I didn't leave that much wire on everything. I cut them down so I didn't have to have all this extra wire in there. I'm all in that my connections are good, because I'm going to close this, shut it up, mount it. I do have one hint of a concern, which is the stem was ever so slightly shorter on this unit than that unit. So I may have to adjust this, or where it sits on the its bracket. But let's close this up and get it mounted. Okay, my concerns unfounded. I was able to put a straight edge, and don't put a straight edge across the tops, put a straight edge across the wheels and get her nice and aligned. Okay. There's nothing more I can do now because I have to check rotation, and they're off downstairs at the switch and nobody's here yet. So, excellent. She's tightened up. We're going to open this so I can pull an amp draw, and then I'll be in a position to change rotation. Also, you can see very little of what we do normally needs like an impact. So I switched to carrying this little M12 instead of the M18. I still got the M18 stuff for the grinder and the pipe cutter and all that crap, but this actually fits in the bag. It's small. My bag's already 80 pounds. I don't need any more. Excellent. Okay. Just making sure our wires don't look burnt or any issue. Now these are going to be hot. Oh, they're not going to be hot. My bad. Just ignore me. There's a switch downstairs interrupting contactors and starts. That's, what am I doing? Get my meter. So that when they fire it up, we can, assuming rotation is correct, we can verify our tension on the belt and our amp draw is good. I didn't mess with the sheave, right? We can open and close the sheave. If we're way under amps, we can let the motor pull a little more. Listen. And observe. Right. I'm over here picking up trash. And this is what I hear. Hear that squealing? That's that condenser fan motor. Okay. So I'm like, uh-oh. Right, not trying to be a Debbie Downer on the owner, but walk-in cooler, freezer, yeah, that's the cooler. Walk-in cooler, fan motor's dying. Then I look in, only that fan motor's spinning, this one's spinning backwards. Now, they may be on separate fan cycles, but that's not normally the case. Normally they both run or they both don't. I'll give you a weirder one. So there's no fan cycle at all. Okay, these 4 fan wires come in and they attach right here. So there's your 2 fans. So when the cooling circuit activates, they start. When one fan dies, these all have single. Where you have 2 fans, so the fans are pulling air this way. If one fan dies, what happens is instead of the air moving through the coil this way, the path of least resistance, air comes in, goes through this fan and out that one, and this one will start spinning backwards. So, right, let's think about it. This should be spinning, if we want the air coming this way, it's gonna spin clockwise, right? So let's turn this on. That one spins clockwise. This one starts spinning counterclockwise, and I'll give you a crazier one. There's amps. This isn't being drawn backwards. It's the wrong rotation. Right? Now, is that just vibrations or is it the actual fan? It's the actual fan. That's ridiculous. So you can see these are half amp fans, so they pull up to half an amp, right? So this one's actually over amping 0.57, which makes sense. It's only a 0.5 rated fan motor. And this one, spinning backwards at a really slow speed, 0.35. Turned on. That's correct. We're allowed to pull 2.8 amps. We're pulling 2.1. I'm gonna leave that alone. She's nice and quiet. Should have years of faithful